Relationships require readiness. For many of us, we believe that we just want a relationship and then we go looking for someone, or we meet someone and already we are crushing on them and we are looking forward to a relationship. But one thing that we don't stop to consider is our readiness for that relationship. Because just like anything, you have to get ready. You have to be ready to get into a relationship. And this readiness works in dimensions. As we have dimensions of living, which are spiritual, social, psychological, and physical. It's helpful to look at all those dimensions, and some would add on the physical, financial. It falls under physical, of course. It helps to look at these dimensions and ask yourself questions, to write down a table, to draw a table and put these dimensions down, and in each dimension to consider how ready you are for a relationship or how lacking you are, and areas where you need to work on yourself in order to improve your relationship outcomes. We talk about psychological, which is what we all discuss about the healing, about trauma healing, and about learning to manage ourselves and to regulate ourselves so that we can develop character and communicate in a healthy way in our relationship, in a way that inspires, so that we can express our needs and also hold space in an inspiring way for our partner. That's something many people know. And we also need to look at the physical. Physically, we also need to be available for a relationship, because if you are too busy, you are making money, you are trying to focus on a business, you work 80, 90 hours a week, it's going to be challenging to get into a relationship and be available for your partner. And this is a situation where you will find that someone says, I was with my partner, I was working hard trying to provide for my partner or for us, but my partner ended up cheating, or my partner ended up leaving, because they probably recognize that you don't have time to be in a relationship. And don't get me wrong, it works for some people. It was worked for our grandmothers and grandfathers and maybe our fathers and mothers, because people used to even go away to work and come back home, and men usually, and the wife would be faithful, she would be waiting for a husband. But in this day and era, it can be a challenge. We are not saying there are no people who appreciate that you are providing for them, but some people will struggle with that distance, physical distance, because you are not available for a relationship. But apart from the time to date, because even when you are busy, you can still make time for a relationship if you are ready to be in a relationship. And that is crucial, because again, these are areas to look at when your relationship is falling apart. Am I available psychologically for a relationship? Am I available physically for a relationship? And for those people who are also in early stages of dating, or they want to date, do you have a bed for two people? Because there is no point in trying to date when you cannot accommodate another person. Because it can be difficult when it's one-sided, when it's only one person who has to accommodate you. For some people it works, but for other people it can create resentment. And for those people for whom it works, there are also times when there is a tendency to be abusive at some point. You live in my house, I'm providing this and this for you, I do this and this for you, and this is my house, now get out of my house. So again, it's something to think about. You need to have your own space if possible. Not everyone is going to be able to do this, but if you can, try to have your own space, and then when you then decide to move in together, you are not desperate to have somewhere to live, but you have your own space. And you have your own space, okay. Do you have a bed for two people? Because if you're in a relationship, can't just lie on top of each other. You need a bed that fits two people. That's a sign you are ready for a relationship. And if you are in a space, a place where you are renting with others, are they going to accept having someone visit you when you get into a relationship? And that can be a challenge, to have someone who doesn't allow other people or visitors in their environment. And then you are thinking, but whose house are you going to go to when you want to spend time with your partner? When the public phase is over and you now want to take things further, that on its own can present a challenge, and that can be something to reflect on when you are looking for a relationship. There are some people I've heard about, I've talked about, they want to plan to come to your house. But, okay, you want to come to my house, you want to invite yourself to my house. You do know, you knew you wanted a relationship. Why are you not making that possible, that you have somewhere or a space where you can invite me to your house rather than invite yourself to my house? That is something to think about. There are other aspects of physical where you need to look into. Are you ready to go out on dates, to spend time out, to go out? If you don't like to go out in public, then again, it can be a challenge to date, to meet someone, because at the end of the day, people like to go out and about. And if you are not equipped for going out, if you haven't done the work to manage your phobias, to lose that fear of crowds, then it can be a challenge for the other person. It puts a pressure on the other person to parent you. You kind of become a burden on the other person. And then there is spiritual. We need to be spiritually in a place to date, to be with another person, to trust and allow, to let go, to be able to be still rather than to jump in all the time, to have little to no attachment to an outcome. That is important. And also to have our own spiritual channel to where we feed ourselves spiritually. It's essential for a relationship to prosper, a relationship to thrive. And socially, are we able to socialize? Do we have social skills? Can we communicate? Can we engage with others? Can we go out in public and still feel safe? Those are some of the things to think about because they matter for a relationship. So it's important that when you start thinking about a relationship, you just don't think about, oh, I want Tom. I'm so crushing on Tom. I'm so trusting on Yolanda. But are you ready to be with another human being? Are you ready to relate with another human being? Do you have the space? Do you have the time? Do you have the capacity emotionally and spiritually to hold space, to be there, to spend time with another person? Can you have a conversation with another person? You know, those are things we need to think about in our readiness for relationship, and to recognize that it's not just about jumping in. It's not just about wanting to be in a relationship. It's not just about the need or a desire to be in a relationship. It takes more than that. You need to be ready for a relationship to work and to do the work that's required for you to be ready, to be fit for purpose.